What is going on, you guys? This is Justin back here with another video, and today we are going to be reviewing the 2010 remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street. So without further ado, let's get right into this. Alright, you guys, so if you've watched my videos before, you already know how this is going to go. I'm going to give my thoughts on the movie, I'm going to give my score, and then we're going to do something a little different today, but not too different. We actually do have some news about A Nightmare on Elm Street update, possibly a new movie, and then we are going to get into some trivia like we usually do. So, what I wrote for my thoughts is, in this movie, we see a more modern take of Freddy Krueger. It feels more dark than others that we've seen. Obviously, the Robert Englund ones, the first two to me were pretty dark, but then continuing on, they were more silly and goofy. But it feels modern. Like it doesn't feel set in the 90s. Obviously, it's set in the 2000s, so maybe that's why I like it a little more. I don't know, but feels a little more modern. I think overall it is a really cool take on Freddy Krueger. I do like the look of him. And the one gripe I did have about it was I get it was the early 2010s, and a lot of studios were obsessed with CGI. But I felt this movie suffered from a lot of CGI. I think they could have done without it. Like, for example, the part where Freddy Krueger comes out of the wall when Nancy is dreaming. I felt that looked tons better in the original when they just used, practical effects, where it was the stretchy wall. Don't get me wrong, I did like that scene in this movie, but I just felt it would have been tons better with practical effects. But, yeah, I am going to give this movie, I didn't think it was a bad movie. I mean, this is my first time watching this, because, I couldn't find it anywhere, but I finally found it. But I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 10. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was a good movie. And like I said, could have done without the CGI. The casting was good, but I felt like they could have done a little bit more acting. But hey, they're acting, not me. I'm just sitting here reviewing a movie. So they're obviously doing a hell of a lot more than me. And I loved Jackie Earle Haley as Freddy. But yeah, we start the movie. We are introduced to Dean Russell. He opens the movie and we see him, he's walking throughout this restaurant that he's staying at. He's drinking a cup of coffee, and we see him interact with Nancy. And Nancy leaves, she gives him some coffee, and obviously he's like dozing off. So then he's walking through, we see these green and red lights flashing. And then we get introduced to this lady named Chris, which is his friend. Well, while she's talking to him, he accidentally spills his coffee on her. And he is actually the first victim. He kills himself right in front of Chris. It's Freddy that does it. He's sitting there saying, "You're not real, you're not real, you're not real," and then gets his neck cut. So then we continue on. Obviously, we go to Dean's funeral, and Chris sees a picture of her and Dean from when they were younger, but she even goes to her mom when she goes home. She's like, "I do not remember knowing Dean when I was younger. Like, I only remember him throughout high school. Like, is there something I'm missing? Like, something has to be missing in this." So, obviously, she goes throughout her whole thing. She's sitting in class, and, Freddy comes after her. Well, he doesn't come after her, but he's, like, standing at the whiteboard. And I kind of like how they treat Freddy in this movie. You don't really get to see what he looks like until the end. And I do love the look for Freddy in this movie. It's very different. I just like how he looks. It's more scary, more menacing, I guess you would say. But eventually, Chris, at Dean's funeral, she sees this little girl in a blue dress with claws across her chest, like claw marks. So she goes home, she's digging through her attic, and she finds that dress. She finds out that she was that little girl that she's seeing, inside of her visions. So, long story short, her and Jesse, well, we get introduced to her ex-boyfriend Jesse at Dean's funeral. But Jesse comes over. Her mom is a flight attendant. She had to go to London or Europe or something. So they're sleeping together. Long story short, Chris gets killed in her sleep while Jesse was there. So then it makes it so Jesse is on the run like the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and obviously he gets caught by the police. He actually doesn't have that long of a story in this movie, because once he gets caught by the police, he's obviously locked in a jail cell and he's trying not to fall asleep. But you know, it's a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. He does fall asleep and he eventually succumbs to Freddy. So yeah. After that, we follow Quentin and Nancy. They are trying to figure out how they know Freddy. And this is the part of the movie that I like, because we didn't really figure out about Robert Englund's Freddy, which I know it's kind of controversial about horror movies, like for instance Rob Zombie's Halloween. A lot of people didn't like that Rob Zombie gave Michael Myers a backstory. Me personally, I thought it was a good backstory. I thought it worked out. I thought it made sense, so I liked it. I mean, I didn't hate it. And I felt this backstory kind of worked for Freddy as well. So Quentin and Nancy, they go to this pharmacy. You know, they're trying to stay awake, and Quentin has these pills where he has to take so that he doesn't fall asleep. And obviously the pharmacist is like, no dude, like I can't give you any, I'm not your doctor. So Quentin and Nancy, they find the preschool that they used to go to, and it is called Bad Ham Preschool. And obviously they've already had their fair share with Freddy. Quentin, he was on the swim team and he fell asleep while swimming, and he got taken to this big factory. So Quentin and Nancy basically find out that when they were younger, Freddy Krueger used to work at their preschool as a gardener, and he used to do like nasty stuff to these kids. Like, you know, I don't think it's appropriate to say on here, but the long story short, the parents found out about it. They chased down Freddy Krueger, and he was in this factory, and they didn't give him a chance to like plead his case or defend himself, rightfully so. I mean, and they threw a gas can inside of this place, lit it on fire, and burned Freddy Krueger. So that's basically why Freddy Krueger is doing what he's doing. He's trying to get revenge for these kids' parents killing him. So throughout the movie, Nancy, she's looking online. She sees all these other kids from their school, their preschool, and she finds out that they've all succumbed to Freddy Krueger as well. The only two that are alive from her preschool are Quentin and Nancy. Now we get into the final part of the movie, which is where Quentin and Nancy, they go to the preschool. They find the cave that their parents were telling them about, that they told their parents about. And Nancy goes to sleep. Obviously, she pulls Freddy Krueger out of the dream, and we are led to believe that Quentin dies. I don't believe he dies, because everything I've looked up, I think his fate was kind of left, you know, unknown at the end of the movie. But everything I've looked up, it says he survived. So Quentin and Nancy are the only two survivors. We then, what happened was Nancy slit Freddy Krueger's throat, and I believe she chopped his head off. I could be wrong about that. But after that, we go home with Nancy and her mom, and Freddy Krueger jumps out of the mirror, killing Nancy's mom, just like at the end of the first Nightmare on Elm Street. So yeah, very, very cool. Like I said, I like this movie a lot. I thought it was an interesting take on Freddy Krueger. I know a lot of people weren't fans of it, but you know, just growing up in the early 2010s, early 2000s, I've always liked the 2000 kind of movies. And I guess it's just got like special place in my heart, I guess you could say, just because that's a early 2000s horror movie. So yeah, but I would love to know what you guys think about it down in the comments below, because I always love talking with you guys down in the comments. It's honestly makes my day talking to other people about stuff that I'm passionate about. Obviously I love horror movies, you could tell by my collection up there. But yeah, now we are going to get into the Nightmare on Elm Street news and the trivia. So I will see you guys there. Alright you guys, so we are going to be starting off with the Nightmare on Elm Street news. The head person of New Line Cinema was asked if they are going to be making a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and he responded with, "We hope so. It's complicated because of the rights." They continue on to say, "The response is not surprising, but New Line, often referred as the house that Freddy built, has not publicly commented on Elm Street in some time. The U.S. rights to the property reverted back to the estate of the writer-director Wes Craven back in 2019, but New Line maintained the international rights. We've heard the estate was taking pitches, but they need New Line on board or a deal with another domestic distributor to move forward. So, yeah, very, very interesting. Obviously, it's not the movie we wanted, the news we wanted to hear, but it is still some news in that regard, and it's nice to hear that they are taking some, pitches and stuff like that, but they just need New Line to sign on, and hopefully we do get a new Freddy movie soon, but my guess is we probably won't see one till at least 2030, my guess, at the most. But, yeah, I would love to know your guys' thoughts on this down in the comments below. But, yeah, enough with that. We are going to continue on to some trivia now, which I love doing. I love learning facts about these movies. So, well, first off, I forgot to mention this. Jackie Earle Haley, he did an April Fool's prank, obviously. He says, as most of you already know, it's official. Warner just lit Nightmare on Elm Street 2026. Super pumped to don the glove again. 1, 2, guess who's coming for you? And then he responded to it with April Fools. So yeah, he got a lot of people excited, but obviously I didn't report on it because it was an April Fool's Day prank. He posted it on April Fools, so better to be safe than sorry. Put that news out there and it'll look like after putting it up. So yeah. But on to the trivia now. Kyle Gallner suffered a cut to his abdomen when the glove Jackie Earle Haley had been wearing failed to bend down, leaving one of the knives still extended. Haley didn't realize this until the scene was finished. So yeah, that's actually very crazy. I bet that hurt a lot. But yeah, continuing on. When Jackie Earle Haley was asked what put him in the right mindset to play Freddy Krueger, he said, sitting in that makeup chair for 3 hours after that, you feel like you could kill someone. Which is funny. I've heard that from a lot of actors. Sitting in that makeup chair is crazy. And I bet it took a long time, especially with all the makeup he had to go through. Continuing on. The Freddy gloves were the most protected props on the set. Previous films had issues with the gloves being stolen. Most notorious was a glove was stolen from one of the films and appeared in Evil Dead 2 1987. So yeah, it was hanging in the shed. I can vividly remember that because it was when Ash was looking for the chainsaw. And next up says, for his big scene in the opening sequence, Kellen Lutz, who played Dean, chose not to sleep for a few days to get himself into character. Now that is commitment to that. That is crazy. Kind of like on levels crazy of Jared Leto preparing for the Joker. So yeah. But continuing on, Robert Englund gave his personal blessing to Jackie Earle Haley to replace him as Freddy, saying the torch has been well passed. So yeah, very, very awesome. I mean, even Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund, liked the remake. So I don't understand why a lot of people don't like it. But yeah, that is all we have for trivia and Nightmare on Elm Street news. But yeah, overall, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I love talking about this with you guys. And yeah, I would love to know your guys' thoughts on the 2010 remake of Nightmare on Elm Street down in the comments below. Now, I would love to know what you guys would want me to do next. So if you could leave me a comment of a movie you would like me to do next, please do, because I love taking suggestions. So yeah, as always, you guys, stay groovy, stay safe, keep your people safe. Remember, God is good all the time. It has been Justin, and I'm out. Peace.